Billy Brownless.
And a very good morning it is, everyone, and welcome to the first day of Melbourne's all-new 24-hour sports radio station, SEN 1116. We are delighted if you've woken up with the morning glory and hope you'll stay with us as we bring you the most comprehensive and up-to-the-minute sports analysis, news and results from here and abroad. We also are going to have a lot of fun and make it entertaining as well, and how could it not be with my two co-hosts sitting in the studio alongside me, William Brownless and Tim Watson. Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Gary. Good morning, Billy, and what a delight it is to be here this morning with you both.
It is indeed. G'day, Timmy. G'day, Gaz. And top of the morning to all our listeners out there. I think there's 5 this morning, Gaz.
No, it will be growing extensively throughout the course of the morning, will we? Certainly hope we have got a massive show ahead, as we will have each and every weekday between 6 and 9 a.m. And just to run through a few of our guests on this very first day.
Hit us with them.
Mark Webber, Australia's great hope in the Formula One. Go-kart, no, Will. I see you've been doing a bit of homework, which is good news. He's going to join us. The Jaguar driver, of course. They've launched a new car. A few problems too, they tell us.
There.
So we're going straight to the source, talk to Mark Webber. What about this for a blast from the past?
Yeah, give it to me.
I'm still kicking. Very, very appropriate. Peter Corder, the former Australian Open.
1998.
Ring a bell with you at all?
Yeah. You know what he's good, what I remember him for doing?
What?
The goose step. Remember that goose step he did?
It was a scissor. Wasn't it like a scissor jump over the net or something?
And
no, you're right.
the Uncle Doug's?
Yeah.
Well, it's very topical. Much controversy around the tennis world, of course, with the Greg Rosetsky case. So looking forward to speaking to Peter. We've tracked him down. It's taken us a couple of weeks.
Where is he?
Not tell him, Bill. We're not telling him. We don't anyone that come in and cut our lunch. Tim Lane, he's going to join us each and every Monday and Friday to have a look at what's happened over the weekend in sport from 8 o'clock onwards for an hour, and also on Friday to look ahead.
I've got some questions for Tim too.
Have you?
Oh, about the cricket. What about Brett? How in the hell did we put Brett Lee back into that side?
Well,
who else are you going to put in?
We'll talk about that
your
later.
Monday shocker, but that is another segment of ours, and I reckon Brett Lee just might get a bit of a mention throughout the course of the morning.
Damien Martin too.
And of course, when you think you've had enough football, you're going to get more football here on the Morning Glory. Nathan Buckley, the reigning Brownlow medalist, Collingwood captain, is going to join us as well.
Oh, I've got a story on that.
Eddie's driving him in, I think. Ed's going to drive him in just way out the front and drive him back.
Had a big night down at Portsea, Ed.
Edward did he?
How news travels
Oh,
fast.
and a huge one.
And I'll tell you.
Well, just hold that, because Deep Throat is going to join us out of the 7:30 news. A segment each and every day. All little newsy bits of gossip that's going around in the world of sport. So look forward to hearing from Deep Throat, and any of our callers, of course, can contribute to that segment.
Well, someone else was down there too, Portsea, at the weekend.
Who might that be?
Well, it might have been a director of another football club, another Melbourne football club, who was just there uniting himself with the players. That's a good thing too, I think.
We have got them out and about everywhere. What'd you say?
Dermy.
Well, Dermot, of course, we'll run through our station lineup throughout the course of the morning and give you a bit of a taste of what you can expect over the coming 24 hours. It is a big day, there's no doubt about it, for us here at SEN 1116, a massive day, and we've come in here, we've been looking forward to this and preparing for a month, but we have been greeted with some very, very sad news this morning, and well, Victorian cricket coach David Hookes is, as we speak, fighting for his life in the Alfred Hospital after an attack outside a St Kilda hotel around midnight. 48-year-old Hookes was drinking with Victorian South Australian players at the Beaconsfield Hotel after the Bushrangers win over the Redbacks, and he was assaulted after leaving the hotel, the incident apparently occurring some 50 metres away. It is believed at this stage that the incident was between Hookes and one of the hotel's security staff. Ambulance paramedics arrived to find Hookes unconscious and not breathing. They worked for about half an hour to revive him before rushing him to the Alfred, where he is listed as being in a critical condition. His wife, Robin, is by his side, and his teammates are gathered waiting for word. A 22-year-old St Albans man is being questioned by St Kilda police. Witnesses and players have also given statements to police. So, as much as we'd like to be up and bouncing around the studio, that is just devastating news. David Hookes is a great friend of ours all. All of ours, of course, and doing a wonderful job with the Victorian cricket team, and that is the worst possible news to wake up to this morning. So our thoughts, obviously, with David and his family and friends and teammates, and we'll keep you as informed as we possibly can. We'll cross shortly to the Alfred Hospital to get an update, but boys, that is, well, I can't say it any other way.
Well,
put a damper on proceedings.
I know, I can tell by the look on your face, Gary, and he's a good mate of yours. I know he's been a good mate for a long time. And I guess the only thing I can say is that our thoughts and our prayers are with Hookes' family at the moment. But by what you've read there this morning, it just doesn't sound too flush for David Hooks.
No, it doesn't. Details are very sketchy, as you'd understand. As we say, the incident allegedly happened just after midnight, so news crews, everyone's down there at the moment trying to get information. You wouldn't expect there'd be too many of his teammates thinking. Celebrating a great win in the ING Cup, the Victorian Bushrangers over the South Australia, who also, of course, Hooksy, having spent much of his cricketing life and his broadcasting life over in South Australia, is a massive name in sport, in the media, of course working on 3AW and also with Fox Sports, and just an enormously popular and charismatic character, and he is a fighter too, Hooksy. That's one thing that he's got going for him. And
Gary, I was reading at the weekend about an article that had been written about him in The Age. Peter Roebuck had written about Hooksy, and I probably thought the same thing. You know, when the Victorians named him as their coach, I thought that was a pretty unusual thing to do, given that he's had such a commitment to the media. But he's been able to actually handle that position extremely well, and you only have to look at the position of the Bushrangers this year on top of the Pura Cup table, doing well in the ING, and the fact that they've been able to promote players.
And the flair they play with.
And the flair, which was a hallmark of the way that David Hooks played his own cricket too.
Look, controversy never ever far away from Hooksy. Yeah. He is a very strong-willed man and always speaks his mind. Great company, and an argument never far away from the lips of Hooksy. And I think we all raised our eyebrows a bit when he was appointed as coach of Victoria. Not only for the reasons that you've pointed out, but also because he was and is a very, very strong South Australian supporter, particularly in AFL footy, and that great cross rivalry between the two states was something he thrived on, and he loved giving it to the Vics at every single opportunity. And I know these great mates over there in South Australia, KG Cunningham and Graham Corns, almost fell out of bed when they heard the news that he'd been appointed as a coach of the Victorian cricket side. And as you say, he's done an amazing job, and even the appointment of Cameron White, a young fellow, as an interim captain while Darren Berry recovered from that injury, was something that I don't think too many people anticipated, but he's been proven right. I mean, Cameron White's done a great job. As you say, the Vics are flying, and Hooksy's made his mark on this Victorian cricket team in a short period of time. So long the Vics have been kicked around from pillar to post.
And I think what he's done in doing that is he's raised the profile of local cricket, and it was a brave decision by the Victorian cricket, but I think that it's been a successful one, and you only have to look through the pages of the papers now. We love a winner, don't we? I don't think I've seen the Vics get as much publicity as what they have in the last 6 months. And I mean, that's got to be a good thing too.
He gives you a headline every time he talks to the reporters. There's a headline there. So, and just on that, Gaz, so is he like critical, or how's?
Look, again, Billy, we will cross shortly to the Alfred Hospital and get as much information as we possibly can. He is fighting for his life at the Alfred Hospital, just repeating that news after an incident outside of St Kilda Hotel. So again, we'll say it and we'll continue to say it throughout the course of the morning, and in fact I'm sure we all will throughout the course of the day, that our thoughts with David and his family. And as I said earlier, he is a fighter, and he'll fight the good fights, and we just hope that we hope that he can pull through. So plenty else happening in the world of sport. Of course, it is a down note to start on our first day here, the Morning Glory on SEN 1116, but we've got a show to get through, and as I said, we've got plenty of sporting news around the traps. I guess, boys, one of the questions, I want to ask you guys the question that we get most asked over the past month or so, when the news that we're going to a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week sports format is, what are you going to do? How are you going to fill 24 hours of sport? And we've done a little bit of work, we've done a bit of homework, and it's staggering just how much is happening in the world of sport, not only here but abroad, and we are going to keep everyone, all our listeners, up to date with the latest news from here in Victoria, around Australia, and of course overseas. We've got some terrific guests and contributors who are going to help us throughout the 3 hours, and
got the sheepdog trials at Casterton.
We'll be all over that. We will be all over the sheepdog trials. We'll be all over the darts down at Bacchus Marsh, whatever you want to hear. But of course,
fly fishing. It's not the best radio broadcast, fly fishing, but we've got the fly fishing championships coming up as well.
You'd be surprised how many fly fishing enthusiasts there are out there, Bill. But we're going to do plenty of footy as well, because
good, because that's what I know about.
That is probably the only thing, and I am looking forward to you grow as a sporting expert over the next 12 months. Your knowledge will expand along with your waistline.
Footy and cricket, that'll do. I think there's a few other things we can talk about.
There's something else quite symbolic that probably, arguably, I pose this question too: what is Australia, the biggest sporting event here in Australia? What from an international perspective
At
as
the
well?
minute?
Yeah.
Well, there's a tennis tournament happening
The
today.
Australian Open.
Well, just symbolic that we launch on the day that the Australian Open kicks off, of course, just down the road here at Flinders Park.
One of my favourites is playing first up at 11 a.m. We're going to follow her. She's a wild card.
Yeah.
This will be good.
Olivia is her name. She plays for Australia, and she's playing Justine Hennen-Harden.
And just while we're on that, Billy, can you just go through the women's side of the draw there, just some of the matches that have been played today?
Been through a couple of them there. I went to the tennis party last night at Crown.
Did you?
Yes.
Who'd you meet?
You are our social tennis correspondent, Will. You wanted in. How did you get an invite to the tennis part?
Well, I got a little friend at Crown, and she invited me along, and I thought I'd stay up the night because our first morning,
We
which
went
was
right
good.
through, did you?
No, had a couple of frothies there with a couple of them, but
You stayed at Crown last night.
Yes, I did. And it's the best fluffy pillows you ever see. But let me tell you, I recognise one player and one player only.
Yeah.
Venus Williams.
She was there last night.
Yeah.
Was there anything about appearance that actually...
She's big.
She's tall?
Tall.
How tall is you?
And quite attractive, actually.
You're now a cutting-edge sporting reporter. Did you happen to wander over Venus to have a chat and find out how she's placed? You know, she's got a big opportunity. Some of the big names in women's tennis not here.
No, I didn't. But she wasn't there long.
No.
Because
Were they drinking?
There's a few players left. A couple of the men's left, and she followed.
What are you
soon
trying
after they left.
What are you trying to say?
She might be. I don't know. I had me spies around.
Right.
Yeah. Save it, Bill.
Right.
Save it for
She might be
7:30.
keen.
The Deep Throat might have that for us. He's got some news. He's got some big news, he tells us. We should just explain. Deep Throat is a man who contacted us soon after we announced that we'd be
What kind
starting...
of name's that?
Well, this is what he wanted to call himself. He didn't want to be identified, but he is right at the cutting edge of sporting news and gossip, and he's going to ring us each and every morning, just out of 7:30, and just fill us in with what is happening.
A local identity?
I don't know. I can't...
You've never met him?
I've never met him, but his bona fides are
Why didn't you talk to us
impressive.
about this before you made this appointment?
Well, I just wanted to surprise you. I just wanted to bring something to the table.
What's he going to do? Rumours and things.
Well, also fact, Bill. He's going to break some stories here on the Morning Glory. He's going to give you some stories that no one else would have heard about, and
After 7:30.
just out of 7:30 news.
Oh,
Then
I'll
we'll
recognise his voice.
Then we're going to take calls as well. We can have contributors all around the place. Watched the cricket last night, stayed up. What about the...
That is a love match made in heaven, that one.
What is?
That one Billy's breaking on air this morning.
No, it's all alleged.
Venus Williams.
No, don't go with that. Don't go with that. But
Stayed up last night too, and...
what did you do last night, Gaz?
I stayed up, had a bit of a look at the cricket. Just wanted to make sure we're on top of all that, and...
What do you think?
I've got some thoughts on the one-day cricket at the moment. Well, I don't think they're particularly original, but it's lost its lustre. One-day international cricket.
Not last
What do you mean
night when they
last
needed 26 off 13 balls, wasn't it?
Nah, it was a foregone conclusion, a long way out. There is a very, very much a sameness about the way one-day international cricket's played at this point in time.
So you think it's a bit boring?
Boring. Yeah, I would say
I need
so.
to shake up the rules.
Yeah, India were absolutely sensational last night.
How good have they been, the Indians? They've been fantastic. All three of the tests. They've actually given it up. It's been like New Zealand. They've had a crack at the Aussies and bowled short last night a couple of times. And I really... you got to take your hat off. They've been fantastic. And Ganguly, who I reckon everyone in Australia hated his guts before he come out here. Mate, he's turned himself around and you got to admire him. He's been fantastic. Old Gangas.
Well, you were a champion schoolboy cricketer yourself.
Yes.
What did you think of their batting performance? What about Sehwag?
Oh, no, that's the greatest thing ever, the opening pair. Even Sehwag, who just... He's got no footwork. He just... great eyeball... what do you call it? Coordination. He just hits them everywhere. And the other opener... what's the other opener?
Chopra.
He just gets out there and it's stonewalls, and their opening partnerships have just been sensational. They've got them on the go, but their top six would be the best anywhere.
Best top six going around international cricket?
Well, you can't get Dravid out. He made 70-odd last night. You just cannot get him out. VVS comes in and smashes him.
Is he as good as Vivienne?
Yes, VVS.
Who's VVN?
Vivienne Richards.
Oh, Vivian.
Oh, okay.
IVA, in actual fact.
IVA. What does the I stand for?
Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards.
Oh, there you
Beautiful.
go.
One of the greatest players of all time. But watched the cricket last night. Had a look at that, and they are in very good nick. You're absolutely right, Bill.
What about the other
You just
mob?
want to overhaul the game.
The other mob that
Not
aren't.
over the game. I could write you the script on how a one-day cricket match is going to unfold. I can write it for you now.
Right, what's going to happen next?
Oh, well,
I know what'll happen with Zimbabwe.
What about in Zimbabwe?
They'll be able to make up.
Straight spanner in the
They
works.
come out, you've got the fielding restrictions.
Yeah.
I'll give you a job, Bill. You are our cricketing expert,
No.
so we're in a bit of trouble. But 15 overs,
Yeah.
but there is fielding restrictions, so that whoever's in at the time just
Yeah.
goes hammer and tong.
And gets to about 80?
15 overs, just goes, smashes them. They try now and get it to at least 80, maybe 100.
Mm.
Then the field gets pushed back and you get probably, 30 overs or 25 overs of
4 or 5.
just pushing into gaps,
Yeah.
little running ones, and you very rarely get a 2 or a 3, and then there's a bit of a flurry at the end.
So what are you saying? What are you going to do?
Well, we need to have a look at it to try and just...
And do what?
Well, these one-day restrictions have been in for
Leave
a
the
long
field
time.
in.
They've been in for a long time now, so I think we've got to put our minds together, our collective brain.
Everyone's got to bowl 2 overs each.
No, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. There's one stage there that the Aussies just put on Simons and Michael Clark yesterday, just bowled slow, loopy off spinners on leg stump, just so they could push into little gaps and just run, quick singles. So,
Michael Clark.
it's first day on the job, and we are going to turn one-day cricket around. So,
He'd have to be Michael Clark. He'd have to be Stephen Tingay separated at birth, wouldn't he?
Michael Clark.
Have you noticed the striking resemblance between him and Stephen Tingay?
No.
I ran into Stephen Tingay the other day. Gee, he looks like Stephen Tingay.
Michael Clark.
Yeah.
Well, this is the
He
other
doesn't
thing.
bat like Stephen Tingay.
I don't know whether you realise, this might have escaped you over the summer, you two gentlemen. I know you love your sport, but there's a bloke called Steve Waugh that retired. I don't know whether you're on top of that or
It
not.
wasn't in my favour.
Steve Waugh.
But a very good decision in the end, because of the fact that blokes like Michael Clark were just waiting in the wings. Now, had he pushed on,
He gets 80 in his last hit.
Steve Waugh?
Mm.
Oh, and it was the right time to go out for Steve Waugh. Absolutely the right time to go out. So that when we do tour over the coming 6 months, we head over the subcontinent, blokes like Michael Clark are going to get an opportunity to play cricket. And
Darren Hussey.
Darren Hussey, our own, Victoria's own.
Haven't we grabbed him?
Oh yeah, well he's been absolutely sensational. And we should say in a summer of sport that's thrown up some terrific sporting results. Probably you don't look at the Pura Cup for great inspiration, but that victory by the Vicks over New South Wales in
It's
Newcastle.
actually David Hussey too. Darren's his brother.
Did you say Darren? no one.
Well, Darren's been good for West Australia.
No one picked you up.
Yeah, but David, he just come from nowhere. But that win up in Newcastle, chasing 450.
You sure it's Darren?
David plays for Victoria.
What about Michael?
No, Michael. No, it's David. It's David Hussey.
Well, Michael Hussey might
Plays
be his
for
brother,
West
I think.
Australia.
Yeah, no, he plays somewhere
Who would
else
be
too.
Darren Hussey?
I went to school with a Darren Hussey.
Hey, can I just raise a point on Steve Waugh? We might talk about this a little bit later when Tim Lane
We
comes
will
in
indeed.
after 8 o'clock, and
We
that
will.
is, I was outraged
We have
at
an
the
act?
number of people who went after Steve Waugh, claiming that he was selfish. Now,
You see that run out?
Billy, of all the Australian sportsmen that I've ever known, I reckon I admire and love Steve Waugh more than any other sports person
Well, you've
that I've
got
come
a
in contact
jaundiced,
with in the
you've
time
got a
I've been
jaundiced
involved in
view
sport.
then.
What's that?
You got a jaundiced view.
What was that?
Well, you've just stated your case. You love him more than any other cricketer.
That's right.
Well, you're never going to come out and say he's selfish, are you?
No, but I can't believe that people would think that he's more selfish than any other cricketer, because cricket is about protecting your averages. It's about your bowling average, about your batting average. I think we've had the greatest leader of cricket in the time that I've been following cricket in Steve Waugh.
Better than Mark Taylor?
Better than Mark Taylor.
Better than Alan Border?
Better than Alan Border.
Better than Alan Border picked up a team of scrubbers and
Better than Alan Border.
and brought them back into the credible
I tell you
rankings of
why
world
he's
cricket.
better than Alan Border, because it
Why?
is more difficult to actually keep a side at the top than to actually get a side at the top. He was actually able to grab hold of that group of players, carry them through, and not only maintain a level of performance, but actually raise that level of performance over the time that he was skippering them as well.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but
I know you
like
you,
Alan
thi-
Border,
you
mate.
think
We
he was
all-
you think he was selfish though, don't you?
no, just at times, and that run out up at the Gabba when he ran out
He's got a hearing problem.
Langer. I got a hearing problem.
As you get older, it's more difficult to hear, Bill.
Well, you did mention that Tim Lane's going to join us just after 8 o'clock, and I reckon he will want to explore this one a little bit further. I had a conversation with Tim at our launch there just last week on this very topic, and I think you might get an argument, Timmy, somewhere down the track.
Oh,
but
okay.
We need to move on at 21 minutes past 6 o'clock at this time of the day, each and every Monday to Friday. We are going to do the paper round. I just see the paper boy. He's just cruising past. He's lobbed a couple of ages. There's a Herald Sun's just lobbed. And do we do the Australian? Have you ever read the Australian in your life, Bill? Do you realise there's a newspaper called the Australian?
Actually, I don't read the Age either because it's too big.
You know, we're going to
the Age is just the perfect size, Bill.
We are
the
going to take
perfect size, just spread out over
right
the
now.
table.
The papers have arrived. Coming up after this, we'll do the paper round right here on the Morning Glory, SEN 1116.
Today's world is fast-paced and impersonal.